From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to the early edition of Montana This Morning on this Wednesday, September 25th. I'm Augusta McDonnell here with Miller Robson. How are you?
Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. We've made it to the middle of the week and it's getting hot.
And it's getting hot already.
Yeah, some areas getting into the 90s today, maybe through tomorrow. Going to be windy today, too. We do have a cold front that's going to be passing through. It's going to kick up some of those winds and try to cool some areas down as we get into tomorrow, especially the western side of the state. May even get a little bit of rain over western Montana. Rest of us just going to be dry, and it's going to get hot, like I said, today. Let's talk about temperatures right now. Not a bad start. We've got mainly in the 40s and 50s. A couple spots already in the 60s. You can see there in Cody at 62. We've got 60 in Jordan. Great Falls near 70 right now, so a very mild start. Now let's show you the winds. Nothing going on right now, but these winds will start to pick up as we get into the afternoon. We have a cold front that's passing through that's going to kick up those winds, give us some rain off to our west. That's round number one. We'll have another cold front coming in through the weekend. Hopefully that one there will cool us down even more. We'll take a look with that main forecast coming up.
All right, Miller, thanks so much for tracking all of that. And we are not out of wildfire season yet, especially with these unseasonably warm and dry temperatures, like Miller was saying. The Bitterroot National Forest reports the Sherritt Creek fire west of Stevensville was flaring up yesterday. As the weather became warmer and drier, people will see smoke from the west side of the Sherritt Creek fire all along the wilderness boundary. There are 35 people working this fire right now, and we're told their priority is to ensure any unburned pockets of fuel will not threaten private properties as the fire moves west. Fire activity currently poses no threat to existing containment lines. There are road and trail closures in the area as well. And a new wildfire was reported Tuesday afternoon in the Rattlesnake drainage north of Missoula. The Lolo National Forest reports the ravine incident fire is 3 miles up Spring Gulch in the Rattlesnake drainage south of the Rattlesnake Wilderness. The fire there currently estimated at a quarter acre. Smoke may be visible from Grant Creek and the surrounding areas. Firefighters, rappellers, and a helicopter are responding to that fire. More information will be provided as soon as it's available. And up in the Flathead this morning, contract negotiations between Flathead County and the Flathead County Sheriff's Association are continuing at a snail's pace. A major item on the table, wages, as the association claims deputies are struggling to make ends meet. MTN's Kiana Wilson reports as frustration continues to mount.
The Flathead County Deputy Sheriff's Association has been in contract negotiations with Flathead County for over a year. Some changes in the contract have been agreed upon, but the biggest issue still on the table is wages.
We got into this career certainly not for the money. We do this job to protect the citizens, and we greatly enjoy that, but it's extremely discouraging for the deputies that we have that are living paycheck to paycheck, which makes bringing new bodies on difficult unless they already own a house here. A lot of people have had to turn down this job because of the inability to be able to support themselves or their families.
Labor specialist Sam Christensen from the National Fraternal Order of Police has been aiding in contract negotiations for over a decade and says that the longest negotiation he has seen in the past is 5 months, and this has already been going on for over a year. He tells me the fight for a wage increase directly correlates to the recruitment and retention of officers for the Flathead County Sheriff's Department, and claims the county is not giving the officers what they want and need.
Well, the county's been playing hardball on giving that money. They say they don't have money, but their financials say they have some money. The sheriff actually had $5.4 million left over in fiscal year 23 out of his $12.4 million budget. You know, where'd that money go? Did it go back in the general fund? Did it go back into the special sheriff fund? You know, the key is these deputies need to earn a living that they can afford to live in Flathead County.
Claridge tells me due to the low wages, some deputies are living in trailers or their parents' basement because they cannot afford other housing. The association is currently arguing for an additional $60,000 for the budget or $120,000 if you incorporate overtime pay, increasing wages by $1,000 to $2,000 a year per employee, and their pleas for more money are not being heard by the county.
You don't do this job because you want to get rich. You do this job because you want to be a service to the public. The deputies want to do that, but they also want to receive a reasonable compensation and support from the county.
Flathead County declined an interview, but issued a statement on the negotiation saying, quote, Flathead County generally refrains from publicly discussing details of ongoing negotiations. In the spirit of good faith, we remain committed to finding a mutually beneficial solution for all parties involved. After another meeting on Tuesday, no agreement has been reached and the contract negotiation is still ongoing. Another meeting is scheduled for October 10th. In Kalispell, Kiana Wilson, MTN News.
Kiana, thanks so much. We'll continue to track what goes on with that contract negotiation. And an inmate in the Butte Detention Center has died in what officials suspect were self-inflicted cuts he sustained while in a holding cell. The inmate was discovered at about 7 a.m. Tuesday morning, unconscious and not breathing, later pronounced dead at St. James Healthcare. The jail has been scrutinized lately for being overcrowded with an inmate population that's more than double it was originally intended to hold. The jail is also understaffed, and inmates have complained about poor conditions in the facility due to overcrowding. Sheriff Ed Lester said he does not believe overcrowding is a factor in this recent death. In a statement saying, "I do not believe the overcrowding played a role in the incident. The inmate was in a cell with one other inmate. The cell he was in the booking area, not one of the larger cell blocks."
It's really sad. It is. And regardless of the facility and its purpose, when there's overcrowding, it's incredibly difficult for the employees to have an understanding of what's going on and keep track of everything. And I hope that's not what happened here, but I am fearful of that because I know the jailers really have their hands full right now.
The body was taken to the Montana Crime Lab in Missoula, where an autopsy will be conducted. This incident is being reviewed by the Montana Department of Criminal Investigation. It's part history, part autobiography, and part plagiarized. Montana Republican Senate candidate Tim Sheehy is facing more backlash in his campaign to try and unseat Jon Tester after it appears his book, published last year, has plagiarized excerpts. It's already been a bumpy campaign for Sheehy, coming under fire for making statements that were disparaging to Native communities across Montana. Our Haley Monaco looks at these latest allegations.
In the book Mudslingers, a true story of aerial firefighting written by Tim Sheehy, it appears that there's multiple sections in it that have been plagiarized. And that might not have been known if it wasn't for a news tip.
People said that book seems suspicious.
Montana U.S. Senate Republican candidate Tim Sheehy is back in the headlines.
There were 4 passages that were, I would say, questionable, if not outright plagiarism.
Daryl Ehrlich, the editor-in-chief of the Daily Montanan, first broke the story that Sheehy's book, published in 2023 as both an autobiography and history piece, appeared plagiarized.
Let's be clear, there's nothing wrong with taking other sources, citing, attributing, quoting. All of those are perfectly legitimate. The challenge becomes when you don't give the proper citation or reference.
Ehrlich says they ran the book through 2 different softwares, one simply being Grammarly, to detect for any kind of plagiarism. The possible plagiarism ranges from using a definition from Wikipedia to full paragraphs with few changed words.
The information that I think was likely plagiarized that the software picked up on as well, it's never the kind of information that is bombshell. It's more just supporting information. And I think that basically every time you receive a ballot, it is, in a sense, asking for trust.
This is a bigger deal than some people might even think. Plagiarism, it does erode the trust.
MSUB political science professor Paul Pope, also quoted in the article, says if this happened in his class, it would be a serious offense.
In many cases, a student who plagiarizes, they're going to fail the course.
Whether the same remains for Sheehy's campaign will have to be seen in November.
We've seen it in the past where a political appointee was found to have plagiarized a portion of their work and their nomination was withdrawn. They dropped out.
Both MTN News and the Daily Montanan requested comment from Sheehy, but never heard back.
It's problematic because he is asking Montanans to vote for him as one of 2 senators.
In Billings, Haley Monaco, MTN News.
Haley, thanks so much. Meanwhile, Senator Jon Tester still refuses to endorse his party's candidate for president, Kamala Harris. Tester chose not to attend last month's Democratic National Convention when Harris was officially nominated as the party's candidate for president. Tester was the only delegate from Montana to withhold a vote for Harris. MTN was finally able to catch up with Tester to ask him about that decision.
Fortunately, my opponent would rather talk about a national race, which will be decided by the people of of Montana, and whoever gets elected to the U.S. presidents, I can guarantee you one thing, just like all previous ones, I'll work with them when they're doing good things for Montana, and I'll hold them accountable when they're not.
Many polls currently have Tester trailing Sheehy in the race for Senate by a slim margin. The race is one of the most critical in the 2024 election nationally. A Sheehy victory could flip the balance of power in the Senate, giving Republicans a majority.